So found in my clips archive was a load of video about me building an MD1 and I completely forgot to edit it. So this is that edit and this is me building an MD1. Not a new chassis to most people, but it was a new chassis to me 6 to 8 months ago. Let's get into it.
And as if by magic, they're all laid out. So unlike the DSD1, I imagine that these go in bag number order. And the first thing we've got to build is the diff, which is pretty standard. It's 4 bolts. You assemble the centre part and you put some grease in it. But actually, it looks like it's already been assembled for me, which will be super nice. Let's have a look. Oh my gosh, Yokomo. I love you a little bit more. Feels smooth. Obviously been built by a pro. That saved me loads of time. Nice. On to bag 2. So here we go. Clearly I went for the red option. And job 1 is to build the diff. And then job 2, that's job 1. Job 2 is to build up the gearbox. So let's get these little geary boys bits assembled. Again, like the DSD1, I'm going to snip to the good bits rather than you watching me assemble and then talk about any things I find along the way. But do you know what? It's Yokomo. This is going to be easy. Well, that is all of bag 1 done. Looking super cool in red. Didn't have any problems as such. Everything went together okay. I do feel like it's a little tight. And I felt like this bottom plate, when I tightened it up, that it made it feel a little tight as you rotate the gearbox. Better now I've got the spur gear on, but yeah, that feels a little tight to me. It looks like in the kit, it gives you an extra spare part there. I believe that's so you can run it in either 3 gear mode or 4 gear mode. I've got it in 3 gear mode. So I think a message to a good friend who's got one of these to see whether I should be building in 4 gear mode, which way's better, will answer the question. But for the moment, that looks cool. Let's follow the instructions. Let's just keep going. All right, so I found in the instructions the update, which tells you how to do the 4 gear setup. And I'm messaging George, gorgeous George from Slidehouse. He says that he runs 4 gear because he prefers it. Which makes sense, and if it feels a little tight, I want to see if 4 gear feels a little looser at this stage. So I'm going to swap this to a 4 gear. Let's go. So there we go, that's the little change over there. All you had to do was move that bolt there to the left hand side, this one here, and then this one goes in with the extra gear on. And I tell you what, it is smooth as silk in 4 gear mode, so I'm a lot happier that I did that. Right, let's go on to bag 2, which is adding these funky wings to the side. End of bag 3. 4 gear done, lovely bit of carbon. This is possibly the coolest looking gearbox I've ever built. Mega. Very smart. Bag 4. Well, that's me done for the night. First back part built, gearbox built. Army boys on there. Couple of bits I would say is this little erratum notice that I've got in there where they said about a few different things. Just keep moving that on a page because I missed the fact that on this little back part here, you don't have the 2mm spaces in that point there anymore. They only go between this part and the gearbox, which meant that I had to take this little part here apart a couple of times to take my little 2mm spaces out because I'd already done it, and then I wondered where the other 2mm ones are before I looked at that. Whoopsies. Anyway, all good. I have to say it's the most cool looking bit of kit I've put together yet, and just went together super, super nice, other than those silly little bits and changes. I guess the thing is the MD1's been out a while now, so they've made some changes and improvements along the way. But we shall carry on another day. Back at it, and midway through the next bag, I am making up the rear drive shafts and rear knuckles. Super easy. Have to say, this is possibly one of the nicest builds I've done. Just the nicest. Everything's just fitting together perfectly. I love all the little details. I like that little aluminium piece there that holds the bottom arm with the shims in it. And you could probably put 2 to the front or 2 to the back and move that around, which is quite nice. Got to make my arms up next. The tie rods. And I like the little carbon pieces. I love the fact everything's on ball joints. I think that's such a nice little feature. Everything is just going to be super tight. There's going to be no play. It's just ace. Ace so far. No issues at all. And we carry on. So that's the whole of the rear part made up. Super cool. Nice. And the next part appears to be on the little sort of extra changes to instructions for the next bag, which is bag 7. So that's the slide rack. So I shall get on with that. I did see one video online of an upgrade where you change the slide rack from however it's built inside here to have a kind of direct drive piece that has a bearing in the centre that the servo turns. It looked really nice. I wonder if that'll be a future upgrade. We shall see. Alright, so time is progressing. Look, built up all the front end now. Built up all the bottom arms, servo and back piece. It did get a little confusing between the two booklets, booklet 1, booklet 2. And I built this front in the wrong order. I built all the top piece and then I added the slide rack afterwards, but it still worked okay. I realised my mistake. But it's going alright. We carry on. So with all that part built up and all that part built up, it's the really fun bit. So these little bits on the chassis for your battery holder. I didn't test the thickness of my battery. I'll need to do that in a bit. And yeah, that part's going to... Oh yeah. I have to say, this has been one of the coolest little builds. I've just got right in the little zone and just thoroughly enjoyed building it. Probably one of the easiest builds I've come across. You know, it's technical, but everything just fits perfectly compared to D4, D5, DSD1, D-like, YD2 even, RDX. Yeah, just fantastic. Blown out of the water with this. Can't wait to drive it now. Just going to finish assembling. I don't think I've got time to get into the shocks today. I want a bit of a fresh start when I go to that. So I'm going to finish everything off here and have a full chassis just with no suspension for today. Oh, yes. Just the shocks to build. Get a fair few little spares. I'm not used to this with the old last build being a Des Racing. And some random little bits in here. Interesting to know what they are. But anyway, we'll have a look in the instructions and see if there's some variations. But I've just built this straight out of the original, the OG. And there she is. Oh, it's so cool. So, 2 things occurred. 1, I got a bit carried away and put all the electronics in. 2, I'm really glad I did because I powered it up just to see the wheels spinning and make sure the gearbox was running smoothly. And what a mistake. I put the 4 gear in. You watched this video and nobody told me. None of you told me. I put the 4 gear in, didn't I? But I didn't flip the input shaft here, the one with the spur gear on, to the opposite side. So it went very quick in reverse. So if you're building it and you think, hey, I think the 4 gear method would look cooler, your rest of your instructions will not tell you about the change, but that needs to be on the right hand side. Of course it does, because the motor rotation is going the other way. So if you're building this, I hope you're watching this before you're building it, because that's got to flip. So it's all done. I've just got to build the shocks and then we'll have a little test drive around the house. Well, seeing as that's all done, I guess it's this job. I never really particularly like this job, so I generally tend to OCD it a little bit. Lay all my stuff out, got my instructions there. Have found that a few different companies have very different slightly methodology. I did build a set of these once and got it completely wrong. I taken to pieces just because I got one O-ring upside down or one O-ring missing. So yeah, do follow the instructions, take your time. But yeah, let's pop these together and then we should have a complete MD1. Woohoo! Well, that literally took me about 20 minutes. It's actually really simple. Just take your time and have some little cloths to hand to catch any dribbles. Thoughts are they feel hard actually. Springs feel hard. Comes from the factory with 50 weight. I did message Gorgeous George from Slidehouse and just asked him what weight he was running. He didn't reply, and then I thought to myself, actually, I want to do this as a fair test and see what the car's like out of the box. So I'm going to chuck 50 weight in. Normally I'd run like 10 or 15. So I'll be interested to see, but I figure that the damping might be matched to the springs. So before I mess around with Yokomo's Premier machine, let's run it as it's intended. So I've chucked that together. They feel too hard to me. I'm sure people can argue about that in the comments. But yeah, I think they're too hard. And let's finish that off, bung them on, and then we'll have one complete car. That's it. I'll eat my words a little bit. Actually feels quite nice. Smooth. You can see there's quite a bit of toe change with suspension. Now I haven't done anything to the settings. I lined all these up by the instructions-ish. I'll double check some settings. George said how it needed a lot more camber. I definitely think it needs a lot more camber. If their settings are right, then that doesn't even fit in my shells. And I have 200mm wide shells, so I don't, it's definitely going to need more camber for that. Yeah, feels nice actually, suspension wise. It's like going to buy a used car, just like slap the roof. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it looks okay. I think the next thing to do obviously is head down the track. So this video won't be out till January. I'm building this over Christmas because I think that's the first time I'm going to be able to actually get down the track. Once I get my controller charged, we'll do some little whizzes around the house as always, and then down the track for some thoughts.
So since building the MD1, been doing plenty of driving with it at different tracks. The two things that I bought for it as soon as I got it was a new rear magnet mount setup, because the standard one that comes with it is a little bit too wide for most of the magnet setups that I had, and the steering rack sort of direct drive piece, which definitely did make the steering better and more responsive. So here's some video of me driving the car. I think it is possibly, it's definitely one of the best chassis I've owned. I know there's some newer chassis out there, MD2 for example, or all of the more modern Yokomo stuff, but also other ones which there's the whole front engine kind of movement going on at the moment, front motor movement, loads of different MSTs and all sorts of things come out now, but it seems to stand up and keep up with everybody still at all the tracks. I'd never sort of feel like it's behind in any respect, and I think through further tuning it could happily be as good if not better than most. So I have absolutely zero reason to change it, and I think I'll be driving this chassis for a very long time. Yeah, fantastic bit of kit and absolutely worth it for the whole build. Thanks for watching. I hope some of the bits in the build help people if they want to build one. I'm sure some of those differences are the same for an MD2 as well. Yeah, so this has been the MD1 build, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching.